that I've had sex with people just because I have a crush on them. Yep, that's me. Okay, so story time about how my boyfriend cheated on me with my whole entire friend group for 4 years straight. At that point, was it really him? I mean, it was, but like, come on, let's take a look at the friends. Anyway, so a little background information. I was 15 years old and in my freshman year of high school, and this whole catastrophe lasted until I was in my senior year of high school and 18 years old. But in my freshman year, I met this guy who we are going to call Matthew, and he was a senior, so you guys already probably know how this went, but just in case you don't, let me tell you. So during this time, I was going to church with my family every Sunday, and then these youth group events. And then the one day, my youth group went on some sort of field trip, and that is where I met Matthew. He was really good looking, super chill, super nice, somebody I could definitely see myself dating. Anyway, so on our way back from the field trip, it was around 2 in the morning, and everyone in the band had fallen asleep, except for the driver, obviously. So while everybody is sleeping, him and I pretty much talked the entire time. And when I say the entire time, I mean like even at 2 in the morning, we weren't even halfway home. So it was a pretty long bus ride, or van ride, whatever, you get it. But in this church van, you have 2 rows of seats, one on one side and the other one on the other, and then you have an aisle in the middle. Well, he was sitting in the seat exactly behind me, and we were in like the aisle seat, so we both just kind of turned and were like looking over at each other so that way we could talk. If that makes sense. I don't know if it does, but just go with it. Anyway, so him and I are talking, and then all of a sudden, I feel his hand go up my skirt. And not to mention, while homeboy is doing this, he's also trying to give me his phone to put my number and Snapchat in. Like, sir, hold on. One thing at a fucking time, please. And thank you. Anyway, so me being a freshman who has never had a boyfriend before, didn't see any red flags whatsoever. I mean, I guess at this time though, I can't really blame myself because the only red flag was when he wanted to start doing sexual things with me before even talking. If that makes sense. Also, any other red flags that I probably missed was probably because, in my eyes, I'm like, oh my goodness, I am talking to a senior boy who likes me out of everybody.
Dumbass bitch.
Period. So Matthew and I continue to talk 24/7. Like, we would be texting all day and then FaceTiming all night long. Like, literally falling asleep on the phone together. So as you can imagine, my 15-year-old self, who is a freshman, who never had a boyfriend, as we discussed earlier, is really falling in love with him. But honestly, now that I'm looking back at it, this definitely looks way more like a love bombing type of thing. Because think about it. He's showing me all the attention that I could ask for in the beginning, and then bam, all of a sudden he takes 50 steps backwards. And then I looked crazy because I became clingy, but in reality, he created that monster. You know, this is funny. I was just talking to one of my friends the other day about this, right? We were talking about how, like, you know, a form of love bombing is like the emotional aspect of it, where they will give you all the attention at first, make you feel like you're on top of the world, and then one day randomly they just draw back. And then you're made to look crazy because you're acting the way that you've always acted. You know, you're trying to call them because you guys used to FaceTime all day. Like, that is such a manipulative, narcissistic thing to freaking do. Because then we look crazy because we're putting in all the effort that we were putting in back whenever both of us were given that same energy. But once they stop giving that energy, you look crazy and clingy. I really just think that a lot of us get catfished by these guys out here. Seriously. But what can you do? Nothing. Anyway, so Matthew starts telling me, yeah, I'm single, I really want to be with you. And y'all, I for real thought that I was the shit because a senior was in love with me. Like, just let that sink in real quick. A senior boy, I know. I felt like the happiest person on earth.
I just came back from the date and they told me, you still not that girl.
Anyway, so while all this is happening, I'm starting to make more friends in my youth group. And the one night I had noticed a girl who actually went to my school at church. And I was thinking to myself, okay, she doesn't talk to me at school, so what's the difference? Why would she talk to me just because we're in church? And by the way, we're gonna call her Sherry. Well, you know what? Sherry surprised me. She really did. Her and I started talking, and somehow we ended up becoming best friends. And till this day, we still are besties because out of all these bitches, she was a real one. Unlike all these fake bitches that y'all are about to learn about. Anyway, so the one day we are driving around, and I asked her if she knows my man.
It was at this moment that he knew he fucked up.
Yeah, alright, I don't even know why I asked that.
And personally, I was expecting a little story about how they're friends, but they're not really that close. You know, blah, blah, blah. You know that phrase, always expect the unexpected? Yeah, well, I was not expecting what the unexpected was about to be. And if that confused you, then oh well. Because because right after I asked her that, and I didn't tell her that him and I were dating, she starts going on about how they've been talking / dating for a few years now.
Gary, stop doing it.
Oh, and then to make it better, she goes and she's like, even though him and I have our ups and downs, I just know that we're gonna get married someday and have kids.
Double homicide.
And listen, I'm not about to sit up here and be a grimy bitch, so I was straight up with her. I told her about what happened on the bus. Oh, and I don't know, maybe the fact that we've been FaceTiming all day, every night, on top of that. Like, how does he even make time for her? So, this is funny as hell, because her and I were both like, fuck him, he's weird as hell anyways. We don't need him. And then do y'all know what we did? We dumped his ass. Just kidding. I was just kidding. But yeah, no, actually, neither of us stopped talking to him. Nobody dumped anybody. But it was honestly comical, because we would tell each other, oh yeah, sis, like, I dropped him. I blocked him on everything.
You lying? Yeah.
Oh, for real? Me too, sis. Yeah, definitely. Anyway, so fast forward, the one day, I am on Facebook, and I come across some pictures that Matthew's mom posted of Matthew with a girl. That wasn't me or my bestie. And then the caption says, post prom pics. Like, really, Angie? Are you kidding me? Angie's his mom. And Matthew, you need to get your mom on a fucking leash because she's about to get you in trouble. Actually, she just did, but like, still. And yes, I'm friends with his mom on Facebook, because if y'all aren't friends with your boyfriend's mom on Facebook, do y'all even love each other for real? I think not. Go evaluate your relationship real quick, and don't judge mine.
She need a lot of psychological evaluations.
Anyway, so after this, I decided to put my master's degree to use. You know, my master's degree that I had in being the best stalker in the fucking world. So after 10 minutes of being a FBI agent, you know, searching up all that shit, I find out that him and this girl have been in a relationship for 3 years. Y'all, bro must be cloning himself at this point. Because how the fuck? Like, I don't even know if I was more upset or impressed about the fact that he had 3 relationships going and 2 of them were over 2 years old. Not only that, but how are you able to put up with 3 different women who have different hormones, different mood swings? Like, can somebody please give this man an award for being the biggest douche canoe who can juggle multiple women at the same fucking time? Okay, everybody, I would now like to announce the winner of this year's biggest douchebag who can juggle multiple women at the same time award to Matthew. Come up here, Matthew. Come here. Anyways, so Sherry and I are like, this shit. If we can't be happy, then nobody can. Yes, at this point, we woke up every day choosing violence. Like, can y'all blame us? I mean, but we do go to church, like, every day, so it kind of cancels it out.
I said, hold up, wait a minute, something ain't right.
Anyway, so her and I, we create a fake Instagram account, and then we message her multiple screenshots of him talking to Sherry and I at the same time. And even though we did this, she still stayed with him. Like, girl, have some fucking self-respect. Actually, never mind. Okay, I realized what I just said now. Yep, I just remembered that my bestie and I were still talking to him as well. But at the same time, Sherry and I were best friends, okay? So it was easy. And also, we knew not to tell people about this shit because it was embarrassing. But like, this was already a love triangle. And no, we don't need somebody coming in, making it like a love square, a rectangle, or any other weird ass fucking shape. Anyways, so speaking of that whole situation, before we DM'd her with the screenshots of everything, Sherry and I did come clean to each other about how we were both still speaking to him even after we said that we were done, which didn't really need to be addressed because we both already knew that both of us were talking to him. I think it was just like the fact that we hadn't put it out there, so it felt like we were keeping some huge secret from each other when like secretly we both knew. But this time, she blocked him on everything. Literally deleted all of their shit too. The lies, the cheating, the manipulation, nope, dunzo.
You probably had the right idea, right, but the wrong bitch.
Can we give a round of applause for her? Please? Like, go you, Sherry, for real. I don't know about y'all, but I feel like that is the moment that you know you are truly done with someone. Like, that is how you know there is no coming back from whatever y'all had went through to make y'all break up or separate from each other. I mean, at least for me, it's like that. Because as soon as I delete our pictures, our conversations, throw away any shit that you've ever gave me, I just deleted you from my life. Like, sorry, baby. You're gone. I don't know you. I never did know you. And that's what it is. Because once you're able to do all that, you know that you have no hope left for y'all to mend anything. Because when I keep pictures and conversations from somebody that I'm not speaking to, that's how I know that I still have hope that we will mend whatever happened. But until then, Goodbye. Anyway, so yeah, I was so happy for Sherry, but for me, it was easier said than done type of thing because I did stay with him, even while he was still hooking up with that other girl. Okay, fine. I knew that they were in a relationship before him and I met or whatever, but calling her a hookup makes me feel better inside. I was kind of playing the role of a he knows where home is type of thing. And if y'all don't know what the he knows where home is, that means that no matter how many times your man strays away from you and goes to fuck Ashley or Tiana or Rachel, he knows when he comes home, he's still gonna have a bed, he's still gonna have a home cooked meal, he's still gonna be getting his laundry done. Ladies, please don't ever be the he knows where home is. Cause no, he does not. He has like 8 different fucking homes. You're like the fucking Airbnb. But as time went on, I really started to become super drained mentally and physically. After school, I would just go and lay in my bed, cry myself to sleep every night. This is so off topic, but my eyebrows look so bad right now because I'm growing them out. And once I feel like they're growing out enough, I'm gonna shape them. Y'all who have been here know the struggles that I've had with my eyebrows this year. So yeah, that's why they look like shit. Anyway, so the one day we decided the best thing for us was to just be friends. I mean, for him, this was better. Not really for me. Because now he could do whatever the hell he wanted with one less girlfriend bothering him. But for me, this shit hurt because, like, I was still in love with him. Like, if I could have had it my way, we would have still been together. But, you know, shoulda, coulda, woulda. That reminds me of that one tongue twister. Like, how much wood coulda, woodchuck, chocolate, woodchuck, could chuck. I'm sorry, guys, the ADHD meds haven't kicked in yet, so give me a fucking break. Anyway, so the douchebag award winner decides that he wants to come to me to talk about all of his problems. Specifically the one about my best friend. He would literally tell me, I hate myself so much for what I did to Sherry. I'll only love Sherry. I'm so mad at myself for messing things up.
Emotional, damn it!
Y'all can see my frustration, right? Like, how are you gonna come to me and tell me you miss my best friend, knowing that I still love you? Like, what the fuck do I even say to that? I will tell y'all what the fuck to say. Hello? Oh, click. I know that you still love me, but I just love your best friend more. Click. Anyways, so yeah, I was going through it. And I mean, I know, okay, I did it to myself, but that doesn't matter. I didn't deserve this. Like, I just remember crying multiple times wishing that he would talk about me like that to his friends. You know, like the way that he talks about Sherry to me, but I just knew that that wasn't in the cards for me. I was not that girl. Anyway, so fast forward, I start living my life. I I start going to parties, I lost my virginity, and in the most pathetic, embarrassing way possible, I thought that the only way to make this man, this douchebag, love me would be to sleep with him.
No! God, no!
And we all know how that goes. So then fast forward, I was super depressed, I hated my life, so I tried to unalive myself. And I called my best friend after, I told her what happened and all the mental shit that was going on. And like any best friend, she was really worried, so she ended up calling my mom and telling her that I was drunk and trying to unalive myself. Now, at the time, I was mad at her for calling my mom, but I see now that it was just because she cared about me. Anyway, so my mom grounded me, and then she took my phone, which I already knew was about to happen, so thank God I switched that bitch back to factory mode before she came and took my phone. Because who do I look like letting my shit get exposed? To my mother. No. Just no. Absolutely not. I was not dumb enough for that shit. But then, of course, rumors spread about how I lost my virginity to a guy who's 18 years old. And of course, this gets back to my mother. Like, can I just have a break, please? Anyway, so now I have my mom interrogating me about this shit that everybody's saying that wasn't actually bullshit, but still. Anyway, so I tell her it's all rumors because him and I are best friends and we hang out with each other all the time. That's why everybody thinks that. Because, yes, she did let me hang out with him 24/7. So, I mean, the only reason why she did let us hang out, though, was because we both were in the same youth group. Also, she did actually like him. Well, then my mother, of course, gets a gut feeling that I am lying to her. So then, what does she do? She goes to Verizon, and she gets every single one of my messages that I've ever sent to anybody. I'm having, like, real deja vu from the last story time that I did. Like, this just be happening to everybody. Right, Cray? Anyways, I mean, like, I can't be shocked, though, because being a stalker is, like, low-key runs in my family at this point. Y'all, this is funny because this actually happened to me whenever I was in either high school or middle school. My friends and I were friends with this group of boys, and my dad knew about them, and he was always fine with us FaceTiming and stuff, but I was never allowed to hang out with the boy in person. It didn't matter if it was at their house in the living room. But my dad always gets this thing that he calls a gut feeling that some sneaky shit is gonna happen or is going on. And sadly, every time he had a gut feeling, I was doing some sneaky shit. Like, you don't know how many times he has driven to my friend's house because he felt like I wasn't really there, and I wasn't. But then every other time when I was actually at her house, he didn't have that gut feeling. And I know y'all are about to say, oh, well, he could have put a tracker on you. No, he's on that Android wave. Like, he don't know how to organize. But anyways, he went to AT&T and he printed out all of my text messages with the one boy because I had really liked one of them. But he actually had AT&T block his number as well, so that way I couldn't unblock it on my phone. But this guy was like 2 years older than me, and he would always flirt with me. Thankfully, I was a child of God and was afraid of doing anything with boys. That's the reason why I didn't get grounded and I'm still alive to tell this story today, because he would flirt with me and I just wouldn't entertain it. Anyways, let me know if y'all's parents have ever done some crazy shit like that, and if they've ever caught you doing some shit that you thought you were gonna get away with. Anyways, back to the story. Anyways, so she loses her shit whenever she finds all of the stuff that's in my text messages with Matthew. And then guess who she calls? Please just guess. Are y'all ready? She calls my fucking pastor. My pastor. And she tells him everything that happened. Everything that I had been doing. And my pastor was like, oh, well, by law, I have to contact CPS because your daughter's a minor and Matthew's an adult. And my pastor was also my therapist, so my mom set up like a meeting, but she stayed in the room, of course, nosy bitch. And then we proceed to talk about the shit that I did, and he's telling me, oh, you shouldn't be having sex now. If you have it now instead of when you're older, you're not gonna, or no, he said, if you start having sex now, you're not gonna enjoy it when you're older. Blah, 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 blah. Y'all, let's just say that I was uncomfortable as fuck during this weird ass conversation. Anyway, so then, of course, Matt starts freaking out because this could quite literally ruin his life. I don't know how that shit goes, but I'm pretty sure you go on a sex offenders list for the rest of your life. But yeah, he was worried. And this man literally had like a fucking spell over me, okay? Because he convinced me to go behind my mom's back and tell my pastor that I lied about having sex with him because I had a crush on him. And that's exactly what I did. I was like, yeah, no, I lied about having sex with him because I have a crush on him. And my pastor believed me. But because of this, I got banned from youth group. And also, my word really doesn't mean shit now. Like, I basically just admitted to lying over a boy. Like, it was embarrassing as fuck. And during all of this, Matthew decides that he wants to run away from all of his problems like he usually does. So he decides to break things off with that other girl. And I thought he did it because he wanted to be with me and he was finally ready to put his all into me. But no, it's because he wanted to go to Army boot camp instead. Anyway, so like I said, he goes off to Army boot camp, but while he was there, surprisingly, he was writing me the whole entire time. Literally the whole time. And I felt so special. I was like, OMG, he's finally taking us serious. Like, he is taking time out of his busy ass schedule to write me some love letters. Until I find out that he was writing my best friend and I the exact same letters, word for fucking word, word for word. I wouldn't be surprised if he literally said to one of his buddies, hey, can I copy your letter that you're about to send to your girl? He is such a lazy POS.
First thing I want to say is guilty, guilty, guilty. I've been that.
Because, like, I don't even know. I don't know. So her and I stopped sending letters back to him. We decided that we're done. Well, him and I had made plans for me to go to his Army boot camp graduation with his mom. And surprisingly, my mom was actually going to let me go. Oh, and still nobody knows about him getting me to lie to my pastor. So everybody still thought that, you know, I was a fucking weirdo who just goes over and starts rumors that I've had sex with people just because I have a crush on them. Yep, that's me. Anyway, so fast forward, he comes home for Christmas and he never ended up going back to the Army, and every time I would ask him why he wasn't going back, he would just get super defensive and then lie, so I kind of just gave up. Like, there was no point in trying to get the truth out of this man, out of everybody. I don't know why this man always feels the need to pick girls that I go to church with to fuck around with. But you know, I became close friends with this one girl at my church, and then I figured out that he had been dating her as well.
Here we are again. Here we are again.
I'm like, bruh, I cannot catch a freaking break from this man. I know, I'm doing it to myself. Leave me alone. Anyways, so that is when I finally decide I am done. I stopped talking to him for a few months and I moved my ass on. And then a year later, I think that it would be a good idea to reach out to him again.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa.
That's too damn bad!
Which I know, I'm the stupid one because I'm the one keeping the cycle going. But we start dating again, and we keep it a secret from everybody this time because we just felt like it was better that way. And it was. Everything was going pretty smooth. But now looking back at it, the only reason why things were probably going good between us was probably because no girls knew that him and I were dating. And he was able to cheat without, yeah, I don't know. You never know with a guy like this, seriously, okay? He is the definition of never let them know your next move. Well, fast forward, I go on this choir trip, and I was rooming with one of my friends, Kate, and you know, we're laying in bed watching movies together. We're both on our phones. She's Snapchatting people, and I didn't really care that she was Snapchatting people. Didn't really matter to me. But every time that she would Snapchat this one person, she would turn her phone away from me so I couldn't see it. Super sus.
Really?
No.
So then, when she opens the snap and tries to turn her phone, I look over real quick, and what do you know? It's Matthew that she's Snapchatting.
Oh my god! Wow!
At this point, I should literally just be sharing my man with everybody. Like, her man is my man, and my man is her man. Yeah, that's what this was. Like, he was really for the fucking streets, getting passed around more than a block. And I'm going to explain to you guys something real quick, okay? Before we start going off on me, I know y'all have been going off on me the whole time, probably, about why didn't I fucking leave him. Let me just say something, okay? Listen, it is a vicious cycle when you have that trauma bond with somebody, because it is so hard to break. Like, yes, this is my third best friend that he has done this to me with. Anyway, so, you know, I take a picture on her phone, and I Snapchat him, and I put in quotations, I'll never cheat on you ever again. Now, here's the real question that we all should be thinking about. Maybe I also should have been questioning the friends that I had.
Bruh.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I should have been thinking about that the whole time. Because at the end of the day, my best friend was sitting next to me, Snapchatting my boyfriend, hiding it from me. And yeah, I know nobody was supposed to know about our relationship, but that didn't count my best friends. Be so for real. But every single one of my friends knew that I was dating him. Every single one that got with him while him and I were together, they knew about him as well. The only person who gets a free pass is Sherry because she had been dating him longer than I even knew him. And her and I didn't become best friends until after she was messing with him. Anyway, so, you know, we break up, then we get back together, and then we break up again.
Just another night, just another day.
Fast forward to my junior year, I start dating this guy, Jay. And him and I fell in love, like, instantly. I had never met a guy who cared for me so genuinely and loved me as much as he did. Like, he actually put effort into our relationship. I thought I found the one. Well, going through a toxic relationship / cycle, you tend to gain some negative traits from that. I let myself sabotage this relationship because of my trust issues. So yeah, my trust issues, they sabotaged the relationship. So, you know, we broke up the summer before my senior year, and then around August, Matthew and I started talking again. And at this time, I could finally drive, so it was easier for him and I to see each other. Also, during this time, I lived with my grandparents, and they weren't strict at all. So they didn't care if he came over my house. And because of this, him and I were closer than we had ever been before. Like, our relationship was going amazing. And yet again, even though I was scared to get my heart broken, I let my walls down because I was like, all right, you know, I'm gonna give it another chance. I'm gonna put my all into this one, and we're gonna see how it goes. So after a few months of us actually doing good, he starts talking to me way less, and he stopped seeing me. Like, trying to get this man to answer the phone was it was like pulling teeth. And I have his location, which is not a healthy thing because I would check it 24/7 for the wrong reasons, but also the right reasons because he has usually done me wrong. But anyways, besides the point, I had his location, and he was always at this one house, and he told me that he was at his best friend's house, which was true. His friend did live there. But what I didn't know was that he was going to hook up with some girl that would go to his friend's house as well. Like, a few days after that, I'm laying in bed, and then I get a DM from a girl named Angel asking me if I'm with Matt. And I'm like, yeah, we've been dating the past blah, blah, blah years. And then she starts talking a ton of shit back to me. She's like, oh, well, we've been dating each other and hanging out with each other every day. We talk all day, blah, 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 blah. He doesn't like you. And while she's telling me all this, her and Matthew are in the car. Like, they are in his truck, probably coming up with things to say to me. Well, after I sent her the receipt, she dumped him. So, yeah. Haha, Matthew. And after she dumps him, he starts blowing up my phone, you know, because I'm always the second option. He tells me he's sorry and he'll never do it again, and y'all already know what I did. I got back with him. Yeah. Son of a... Ladies, let me give advice real quick, okay? Sometimes you gotta stay until you hate them. I'm not saying you have to, but what I'm saying is if you can't leave them alone on your own, staying until you hate them is the best option. Like, it really does work. It worked with me, and I didn't even know what was happening until I realized after, oh shit, the only reason why I was able to leave him was because I resented him so much. I feel like this story is getting so repetitive, but I promise this is the second to last time this happens, okay? My cousin wanted to start hanging out with him and I, and she would always be a third wheel. I felt bad because she didn't have any friends, so I was like, yeah, blah, 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 you can hang out with us.
It sounds like a new opportunity.
Well, she's over my house the one night, and she is getting her phone blown up with FaceTime calls. And Matthew hadn't talked to me all day. I wasn't really thinking anything of it, okay? I was like, it could not have anything to do with her. Actually, I didn't even think that because I just didn't think that it would have anything to do with her in general. But then she answers one of the FaceTime calls and she goes away from me so that way I can't see her phone. And then her AirPods just so happen to disconnect. And whose voice do I hear?
Don't be shocked. You're shocked? You're shocked?
And we only live 4 minutes away from each other, so she packed up her shit, went home. And I didn't talk to them both for a few days because I literally needed a mental break. Like, they both were just so grimy, and I needed a few days to calm down and collect my thoughts. Even though there were really no thoughts to collect. Like, literally, God was shoving the answer to all of my problems in my face 24/7. You know, I don't know if any of you guys are spiritual or religious. If you are, cool. If you're not, that's cool too. If y'all didn't know this about me, I'm a very spiritual person, okay? And I'm not saying that in a way where I'm like, oh, I can speak to ghosts and stuff like that. Like, no.
Wait, who? Who?
I was raised Roman Catholic, and I am a big believer that God is real. But one thing I really do believe is that God will repeatedly show you signs that somebody is not good for you, somebody or something. Like, for example, I haven't checked my ex's phone in over a year because I told him I'm done with the toxicity. I'm done with us tracking each other's locations, and yeah, I don't want to check your phone anymore. So I didn't check his phone in over a year, and then all of a sudden one night, he's like, hey, can you plug in my phone? And I'm like, yeah, you know, because I was up really late filming. And so I go to get into bed, and I go to plug in his phone, and all of a sudden, I get this feeling from God that something is in there. I just, like, it literally, as soon as I touched his phone, something just, like, changed in me. I was like, oh, like, my stomach started to turn. So I plugged in his phone, tried to go to sleep, couldn't go to sleep. 2 minutes later, I grab his phone, and everything that I needed to see was right there. I hadn't went through his phone in over a year. And then there was the one time I was talking to this guy, and I was thinking the night before, I wonder if he's messing with any girls. Like, I wonder what would happen if he forgot that I was on the phone with him and he started talking about another girl. It happened. There's no coincidence for this shit, y'all. Like, I'm telling you right now. The next day, he fell asleep with me on the phone, and then he woke up and forgot that I was on the phone, and he started talking about another girl with his homeboys. All I'm saying is, there are coincidences, and then there is God giving you a clear sign that somebody or something is not good for you. And I always say now, that if I'm ever messing with a person, I'm not going to go looking for things. I know that God will show me if they are doing me dirty, because I always find out. And I don't have to go looking either. Also, I really love the saying, God removes people from your life because he heard conversations that you didn't. Period.
Okay, talk. And you better make it quick.
So the reason I said,
Bitch, your time is up. I said make it quick.
Anyways, so like I said, I didn't talk to him or her for a few days. Finally, I get over everything. We stay together. That vicious cycle. And then he starts hanging out with one of his friends who goes to this college that's like 30 minutes away. And he starts hanging out with him all the time. He never wants to hang out with me anymore. And I'm having like PTSD from the last situation where he would go to his best friend's house to hook up with another girl. And so this is around Christmas, right? He told me that him and his family were going out of town for a few days. And he was also going to be going on a cruise. So a month later, he comes back from the holidays, right? And I see a box of chocolates in his car. And he was like, oh yeah, my buddy got those for me whenever I went on the cruise. I was like, okay. And then I found a box with socks and underwear with some girl's face on them. And I'm like, and these? And he's like, oh, that was a white elephant gift. I didn't know what a white elephant gift was, so if y'all want to know what that is, I looked it up. It's pretty much like a dirty Santa joke kind of gift, you know, like you give people like something raunchy, you know, raunchy, funny shit. Anyway, so fast forward, the one night he comes over my house and he goes to show me some stuff on his phone, and lo and behold, there were pictures of him with another female. It's like he wanted me to see this shit. Like he was for real into spicing up the relationship a little bit. Not even a little bit, like a whole lot. Like, sir, I don't think this is what they meant whenever they said to keep things interesting in the relationship. because quite frankly, you are traumatizing me. Anyway, so in these pictures, there's a girl with a sign that says happy birthday, and she's like all up on Matthew. After he leaves my house, I go into detective mode again. I go and find his friend's Instagram, and then I go through his whole following. I try to find this girl. I finally find her. She's tagged in some of these pictures, and all the pictures that she was tagged in, they were all with Matthew, because of course he wasn't following her. So then I request to follow her on Instagram, because of course she's private, and then I go onto Facebook, and on Facebook she has it so that way, even if we're not friends, I can still see her profile. And I'm going through pictures, and there are pictures of her and Matthew sitting around the Christmas tree with him opening presents with her family. And then, not to mention, he gave her a ring that he told me was for me, that he got me for Christmas. Y'all, I'm sorry, but like, this is for real deja vu from the last story time. Like, I can't believe that like, a lot of men actually are this grimy. What the fuck? Anyway, so as I keep thinking, I see that they went on the cruise together. So I guess out of town really meant I'm going to be with my other bitch. Like, oh babe, I'm going out of town for the holidays, which really means I'm going down the block and making a left to go to my other girlfriend's house. So I end up messaging her, telling her everything, sending screenshot receipts, you know, so that way he couldn't manipulate her into thinking that I was some crazy random bitch or something. Well, she dumped his ass, and then she was pissed. And then what does he do? He comes over to my house, and he's like apologizing, and you know, I'm going off on him, and then all of a sudden he cuts me off, and he's like, I'm moving to Arizona, and I'm leaving tonight. And I'm like, what the fuck? I was so blindsided, and here this motherfucker goes running from his problems again. But because he lied so much, I wasn't even sure if he was actually moving to Arizona until a few days later he sent me a Snapchat while he was in Arizona, and I was freaking heartbroken. Because after all the bullshit that you put me through, and all the embarrassment, you just get to up and move and start a new life. But before he left, he did decide to tell me why he honestly cheated on me the last time. He was like, well, their family is going to Arizona to go and visit some relatives, and I don't have that much money, so I need a ride up there, and they offered to drive me. They still ended up driving him, even though they broke up. But after that, her and I became actually really good friends, and it is hilarious how much we uncovered together, because both of us are going back and forth telling each other, oh yeah, he also had 4 other girlfriends. Seriously? Yeah. And I'm like, oh, well, he dated 4 of my friends. Like, we were both finding out about different relationships that he had. Thankfully, I was able to block him on everything and move the fuck on. I'm actually back with that boy that I dated during my junior year. Remember the relationship where my trust issues sabotaged it? Yeah, that one. But him and I have been dating for over a year now, and I've never been happier. Ladies, the moral of this story, well, there is no fucking moral, just don't do any of the shit that I did. Okay? Okay, that's the moral of this fucking story. Bye. Okay, everybody, that is the end of today's story time. If you guys like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up.